Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, and somewhere back there is Finster, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. And today, we're going to be talking about three kind of interesting composers, well, extremely interesting composers, actually, beginning with, well, let's see, here's the clump that we're dealing with. Emil Nicholas von Reznicek, Silvestre Revueltas, and then Alfred Reynolds. How's that for a collection of different characters? Really kind of fascinating. Now, Emil Nicholas von Reznicek is famous, to the extent he's famous at all, for the Donna Diana Overture. And the Donna Diana Overture is the overture to a comic opera, which is actually right here. And presumably this girl in the fishnet stockings with the sort of risque length skirt is Donna Diana. It's one of those German, regie dirigent things, I mean, who knows. But in any case, it's comic opera in 3 acts, and it's quite lovely and delightful. And this is the full sucker on CPO, featuring people you've never heard of. Let's see, Max Wittges, Manuela Uhl is Donna Diana, Heike Wittleib, Suzanne Kreusch. It's one of these, German local deals. The Kiel Opera Chorus, the Kiel Philharmonic under Ulrich Windfuhr. Kiel Opera does all kinds of interesting stuff, and CPO always seems to be around to record them when they do. So there that is, and it's definitely worth hearing. I mean, Reznicek, who lived from, let me just do this, from 1860 to 1945. 1860, remember, was Mahler's birth date. If only Mahler had lived till 1945. Oh boy, what fun we'd have had. Anyway, but he was a good composer. A good composer in a fin de siècle sort of decadent style. His orchestral works, which we've talked about before on this channel, are fun, like Schlemiel, and stuff like that. Really interesting. Anyway, here is his Richard Blaubart fairy tale opera, Bluebeard. He did a Bluebeard opera. And you know the story. There's Bluebeard, there's Judith. Judith is in here. Then there's the castle. And Bluebeard's popped up all over the place. I mean, he pops up by, Paul Dukas did a Bluebeard opera. I mean, it's really kind of fascinating. Anyway, so this is, David Pittman Jennings is Bluebeard. We've heard of him. And Selena Lindsley is Judith. She's in here. She's Ariane in that recording of Martinou's Ariane, the Superphone recording of that. So she's been around too, and she has a nice soprano voice. And this is the Berlin Radio Symphony under Mikhail Jurovsky, again on CPO. So that's a rarity and kind of juicy and interesting. And then we have one of his orchestral discs. This is the Lustspiel Overture. I mean, Reznicek was a guy who liked to write comic things, which means he was not suited to the German style at all, basically, because, humor is not their specialty. And then we have the theme and variations on a poem, Tragic Tales, the Tragic Tales by Adalbert von Chamisso, also known as the Chamisso Variations, which is much easier. It's 20 minutes long. It takes 20 minutes to play and 20 minutes to spit out the title, so it's easier just to listen to it. Then we have symphonic variations, symphonic variations on Kol Nidre. Kol Nidre, as they say it here. That's the famous Yom Kippur tune that Bruch used in his Kol Nidre. It's a beautiful, beautiful melody. Let's see. And bonus tracks, Reznicek conducts Reznicek, the Lustspiel Overture and the Donna Diana Overture, recorded in 1922. Baby. And this is with the WDR Symphony Orchestra of Cologne. Again, Mikhail Jurovsky is the excellent conductor. So there's that. So that covers Reznicek. All the rest of my Reznicek is upstairs. The Emil von Reznicek Society, which exists, used to be located in Fairbanks, Alaska. I think they've moved since then, but that always kind of amazed me. So there it is. Next we come to, this is major, Silvestre Revueltas, the great Mexican composer who didn't write very much. He died when he was in his 40s. He was young. He was an alcoholic. He was gay. He had all kinds of personal problems, and that resulted in a rather slender output. A lot of his stuff was incomplete. It had to be fixed up by others and whatnot. It's a pity because he was a genius, and his music was the sort of raw, urban Mexican folk street classical. It's sort of impossible to describe, but incredibly memorable. So here we have on Channel Classics in homage chamber works of Revueltas and Senza Maya, and its chamber version, Ocho por Radio, which is fabulous. Planos. These are just really cool pieces. They're kind of pieza para 12 instrumentos, piece for 12 instruments. The homage to Federico Garcia Lorca, which is amazing. It's a dance, a lament, and something called sound. Anyway, this is a wonderful recording, fabulously well recorded, with the Ebony Band. So that's really nifty. And then we have this one. Oh, yes. The Quarteto Latino Americano doing the string quartets of Revueltas. And there are four of them, actually, which is rather cool. This is on New Albion Records, and there's no other way to get these things, I think, all on one disc. So that's definitely worth having because they are extraordinary. Then there's this series. I have like 3 volumes of it. I think it's these 3 of Música Mexicana with Enrique Batiz. This was on ASV. Remember that series? And it's just wonderful. You've got Chavez and Revueltas. You've got Caminos and Música para Charlar and Ventanas on this disc. The Chavez stuff is the Sinfonia de Antigona, and the Sinfonia Romantica, his 4th. Then we've got, Rudolfo Halfter, violin concerto, with Henrik Schering performing, Moncayo's Huapango, and Revueltas, who can pronounce this thing? Cuauhnahuac, yeah. Cuauhnahuac. I don't even want to attempt it. Well, I just did, didn't I? And Manuel Ponce's Concerto del Sur. So that's fun. And then last but not least, more Ponce, his violin concerto, the Chavez Sinfonia India, and La Noche de los Mayas by Revueltas. That's a film score. A bunch of these things were film or other cartoons and pieces, and it was actually pulled together by others from Revueltas' sketches and things. But it's just exciting as all hell. Then we've got, the Unknown Revueltas. This was on Dorian, back when that label existed. Again with the Quarteto Latino Americano and the Octeto Vocal Juan de Tercero and all kinds of weird stuff. Troika, look at that. And then this has Cuauhnahuac and 5 songs and escenas infantiles, scenes from childhood. Cuatro pequeños trozos, 4 little pieces. El afilador, the knife sharpener. Market for soprano, mixed chorus, and chamber orchestra. And the chamber version of Senza Maya, the chant one uses to kill a snake. La Coronella, world premiere recording of that thing here. The Lady Colonel with Giselle Bandor, the Santa Barbara Symphony. Itinerarios and Colorines. So this is on Koch, back in the days when that label existed. As you can see, this stuff doesn't tend to stick around that much, which is a shame. But here's the other recording of La Coronella. This one is on, what label is this? Orchestra Sinfonica Nacional Spartacus. Spartacus? I guess that's the label. Spartacus. Yeah, Spartacus. So along with Arturo Marquez and Moncayo's Symphony, we don't just do Huapango, but Moncayo, and La Coronella. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting disc. It was made in Mexico. Good luck finding it. I hope it still exists. It's with Enrique Arturo Dimecki and the National Symphony of Mexico. So, I mean, I cannot believe that I've accumulated all this stuff. And then we have this Forlan. Remember that label? Forlan had a great Roussel disc. It had some Messiaen and other stuff. This is the Hommage à Revueltas, the 50th anniversary of his death, which was in 1940. And we've got the Orchestra Filarmonique de Mexico, Orquesta Filarmónico de Mexico, whatever you want, under Fernando Lozano. And we've got the homage to Lorca, which we already talked about, and the Night of the Mayas, and Redes, Nets, the Suite for Small Orchestra, which is just a wonderful piece. And, Naxos did a wonderful recording of the complete film score and released it with the film. So that was rather nifty. And that's Revueltas. I mean, there's a guy you really have to get to know. And then we've got Alfred Reynolds, British light music. Oh, this is so cute. I love British light music. We've got his Festival March, his Alice Through the Looking Glass Suite, the Toy Cart Suite, the Overture to the Taming of the Shrew, the Suite 1066, and all that. Sure, of course, that's the Battle of Hastings, I think. Remember that? I think that's what that was. The Ballet of the Roses from 1066, and all that. Suite of 5 dances from the Duenna, and then the Overture for a Comedy, the Sirens of Southland, Swiss Lullaby and Ballet, the Suite Marriage à la Mode, and 3 pieces for theater, Overture to Much Ado About Nothing, Entr'acte from The Critic, and the Masquerade from The Merchant of Venice. This is all just delightful stuff. It really is. We have the Royal Ballet Sinfonia under Gavin Sutherland on Marco Polo. So, boy, that's an interesting group of stuff, isn't it? I mean, I go through these things, and I'm actually continually delighted by, all the juicy tidbits that I've managed to accumulate. So, hopefully you'll enjoy some of these and sample and play around. I did. Anyway, keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.